There we go. We're gonna have it wider.
So,
I'm either gonna kiss you or bite you, so you can choose.
both at the same time.
So, okay, I'm well seen here. But someone is hiding. Babe.
No, just kidding. Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Done?
Wait a second.
Are you done?
No. Not
So
yet.
what's up? Perfect.
I'm done. Okay. So, we're on.
Okay.
Start with the intro. You go. I did the last one. You go.
Okay. Hello everyone. It's Ben and Tina
From Ben&Tina Tandem.
from Tina Tandem, and we have a special guest today.
We do. That's Peter, Piotrek.
Hello.
He's our dear guest, and
Yep.
we're going to ask him about his
Few
English.
things.
Few things. Yeah.
You will see.
So, starting, yeah, with the first one. First off, thank you so much for saying yes to
No
our
worries, thank you for
proposition.
inviting me.
Okay. Can you tell us something about yourself?
Well, so my name is Piotr in Polish, and I've lived in English-speaking countries for 4 years. So 4 years ago, I decided to study abroad, just because I really like traveling and I wanted to learn English. So I decided to apply to different universities in America. But it's very hard to get in because they're very, very good. They're at the top of all rankings. And it's very expensive to have in America before as well, and it's difficult to find funding if you're not American. So I didn't end up going to America, but I went to England instead, to the University of Birmingham, which I graduated from just now.
Wow, congratulations.
Thanks. And yeah, I lived there
Huge deal.
2 years. Then last year I did a year abroad in Illinois in America. So eventually I did manage to go to where I always wanted to go. And then, yeah, it's been 4 years of studies living in a foreign country, speaking another language.
Wow, impressive, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, good for you.
For sure. That's amazing. I mean, the journey, yeah?
Yeah.
The journey,
A lot of experience, I guess.
yeah. Wow. So, can you tell us, like, when did you start to speak English? When was your breaking point?
I technically started learning English in nursery school. Like,
You did nursery school too.
yeah,
Wow. So you are a
here in
nurse?
Wrocław. No, like a kindergarten in
Okay.
American English.
Oh, okay, okay.
And
So,
yeah,
how did it happen for you? How did you start to speak?
so the lessons there at the nursery school were just like very simple. So we just like learned colors, nothing else really. And then, yes, every other kid I had lessons at school. Like, yeah, throughout my education up to secondary school. Yeah, so that's when I started that's how I started learning English. Then speaking English is a lot different because you go to England and you realize that actually you can't speak English even though you thought you could, because it's completely different. Like, you meet native speakers and you realize that, like, it's just not as, like, so at school, you just go through like questions, exercises, learn some words from the dictionary, and then when you talk to native speakers, you have to like talk naturally. You have to use their phrases, their vocabulary they use rather than what you learned at school. And yeah, it's very difficult to get fluent, to become natural in English when you just have lessons. You have to just keep speaking and practice as much as possible. So I would say that I became fluent in English only a year ago. So after 3 years of me living in English-speaking countries, because that's when I became, yeah, kind of like a native speaker, I think. It's like I stopped translating myself from Polish. I started thinking in English.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I actually watched a really interesting YouTube video recently of an American girl talking about how you can tell that you're fluent in English. And she did that video because she speaks Spanish and she's lived in Argentina for 5 years, I think. And so she said things like, you're fluent when you can, for example, tell attitudes between attitudes behind what people say. So if someone says something in English, and then if you don't know English from the native side, you're only gonna understand like the superficial meaning rather than the attitudes, the feelings, the emotions behind it. So there's just much more going on backstage, and you can only learn that from native speakers, I think.
So it's something more psychological.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
and
Wow.
emotional.
That's interesting. That really sounds interesting.
So at the moment you can do that actually.
I think so, yeah. But obviously I'm still learning. But yeah, it gets better every year.
So what is your level in English now? C2? Native?
I don't know, like,
Have you tested ever?
I took TOEFL recently.
Okay. Did you pass?
Yeah, I got like 110, 112, something like that. But like, doesn't matter. It's, yeah, because it's a bit like,
Well, who cares?
yeah, it is like you ask me now what my level of Polish is. Like, it just doesn't matter. Like, I lived in Poland for many years. So I know Polish from the native speaker side. And I can just speak it fluently and naturally, the way it's described in speaking English.
So English has integrated into you,
Yeah.
into your core, we could
Exactly,
say.
yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So what was the moment when you actually started to pronounce words in English, like using the language? Have you ever felt, like, let's start from the beginning. Have you ever felt the wall? What we're always speaking about, how to
Yeah.
break the wall. Have you ever felt something like this?
Yeah. A lot of,
When was
yeah.
it?
Who was it? Yeah.
It was at the beginning of my time in England. So, yeah, before I went to England, I hadn't spoken English much at all. So I only took lessons at school, which, as I said, is not enough. And then you go out to the English-speaking world, you meet native speakers, you go to parties with English people, you live with English people, you spend like all day, every day with them. And it's very difficult. Like, there's a lot of a barrier, a language barrier between you, because you don't know the vocabulary. Like, just your English is not good enough, it's not native enough for you to be able to make friends in English, for example, to make friends with native speakers, to go to party with them, to enjoy yourself with them, to feel comfortable in the conversation with them.
So what did you do? Why you changed?
I got depressed and cried in bed.
Okay.
No.
So what helped you? Have you fallen in love with someone, or have you had some project to do? What happened?
Not really.
What was
Like,
your motivation?
there wasn't really a breakthrough point. It was very gradual. So, I mean, every improvement is very gradual. Whenever you learn something, it doesn't happen overnight. It's very slow, very gradual. So, there wasn't a time when I was like, suddenly I can speak very good English and the wall is gone. Is that my phone? No.
No,
worry
somebody's
about
thing.
Yeah, it was very gradual. So the reason why I overcame the wall was just that I had to speak English anyway. Even though it was difficult, even though it was tiring, I was sick of it, I still had to do it. I lived in England, I had to study in English, I had to speak English to people, to friends, and I just kept doing that every day, every day.
So could we say that your motivation was social life?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Because
very
there's many levels to your language abilities as well. You can have very good professional English, for example.
You're not
which
being
a lot-
able to speak to people.
Yeah, a lot of people have that. So like they work in an English-speaking country in English, and so when they talk about work, like about technical stuff, their English is very good. They have all the technical vocabulary. Then they socialize with people. They go to parties and stuff, and they don't speak that well anymore. Like that's a different level of your ability to speak a language.
So it was important for you to be professional in English, but also be social.
Yeah, exactly. So I really wanted to actually learn a language from the social side and be able to connect with people, to make friends, to laugh at jokes together, to like have a girlfriend, to go to parties, yeah, all of this stuff.
Had it happen to you? Had it happen?
Yeah,
Oh, okay, great. Okay, so I got one more question in this area. When you were not speaking English, like I'd say years ago, probably, but when you were not speaking English, you were this kid just learning the language.
yeah.
And what if you had a chance to meet this kid, now as you are, and tell him, motivate him somehow? What would you say to him?
Well, first off, even though you get like A's at school in English, it doesn't mean you can speak English.
Okay.
So you don't realize how much you need to practice still. Like you just need to keep speaking as much as possible. There's very useful websites like italki, for example, where you can talk to people on Skype and practice languages. Yeah, there's couch surfing where you can meet people in your area, people from other countries. So yeah, meet more people, speak English more, and be more patient with yourself. So you need to realize how slow and how gradual this process is. So you're not gonna go to England and learn English in a few days. It's gonna take 3 years actually. So it's very patient, and yeah, and practice and
Give
make an
yourself a
effort.
chance.
But yeah, also be patient and wait for it.
Thank you. It's very useful, I think, for our viewers, for sure.
I have one question about your accent. Where does it come from?
Well,
Well,
people
it's
always
not
say
like-
that it's a generic English accent. Like I don't know, I don't focus on like a specific accent. I just speak naturally.
Well, you mixed
the
it
way-
with something.
Yeah, like it's a mixture of all my native speakers' friends' accents. I think.
So you picked it up from someone that you were talking
Yeah,
to?
mainly from friends, from people I lived with.
Very good. That's why it sounds so charming. French, babe. Okay.
So, where are you based at the moment? Here in Poland? or-
Nowhere really. Like I'm
Okay.
here on
You're homeless.
holiday with my family,
Okay.
and then I'm moving to London in September.
Okay. Have you got some like English friends in Poland or?
Plans to move back to Poland.
What I meant is, you are actually in England, right?
Yeah.
So you have English friends there, obviously. About Poland, for example, Tina and I, we are talking in English all the time.
Yeah.
But we're not British. We're not American, obviously.
Yeah.
Have you got like English or American or the
Friends here.
yeah here, like in Wrocław?
No.
Do you know someone that you can talk with in English?
No, not really. That's the thing. That's why I said that you should use things like italki and couch surfing, because you might find it difficult to find people to talk English to. And I didn't have anyone like that.
What do you
Welcome
think?
in the
what-
family.
Exactly. But what do you think? What's the reason?
Well, I
Why
think
is it so difficult to find someone to talk with?
most of the reason is that Poland, unlike America and the UK, is not such a culturally mixed country. So if you chat to a random person in the street, they're most probably going to be Polish and white and all of that. So there's not that many foreigners here.
Oh, you'd
That's
be
why it's difficult.
surprised. Oh, you'd
There are more and more,
expats, like thousands.
but you also have to
thousands.
know how to find them. And yeah.
You know how I found them? I actually searched the Facebook. I actually put into events in my area
Yeah.
and like English speaking, search, and it gave me like 10 things. And we've attended last Wednesday. This Wednesday, we've attended this Brussels Speakers Club,
Yeah.
Toastmasters.
I was actually looking for that recently. 'Cause
Ah, it was cool. You gotta go.
knew
You
it's
totally gotta go.
Cool, yeah.
how-
You know, the
can
atmosphere
you
is
send me a
really
link?
Sure.
Cool.
Next Wednesday we're gonna go. Yeah. You and me.
You can go with us.
Please.
Yeah.
We're gonna go together because the atmosphere,
Yeah.
the way they present it is so cool. We totally gotta go. So you can actually meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
And test your English with different people and different accents.
Yeah.
So it's real cool.
Yeah. I wish my uncle and mum did it because they also learn English. They don't use it that much. Like I keep telling them that to become fluent in English, you need to do things like that.
You gotta go.
Just talk
Yeah.
English with friends. Like
Practice.
don't talk about something in the book. Talk naturally, like you were with friends.
What do you think your friends can do for you to help you like break the wall, help you start speaking?
Like native speakers friends or any friends? Yeah, I think it's always easiest to speak to someone who's very communicative. So it's communicative meaning that someone actually wants you to understand them. Yeah, so like when you have a native speaker, they might throw a lot of slang at you that you're not going to understand. They might have a lot of an accent, which will make it easier for you to understand them. But if you have a communicative native speaker, they will make every effort for you to understand them. So they will maybe drop some of their accent or at least try, not use too much slang that you might not understand. And yeah, just be patient with you, give you a lot of time to think, to speak if you need it.
Okay, so what would you advise to people who are struggling with starting to speak?
In addition to what I said, also, so you need to know that when you go out to the English-speaking world and start speaking English to people, they're not going to try to catch you out or anything. So like the communicative native speakers, for example, that I talked about, will want you to do your best as well, so speak English as good as possible. Because I had this bad attitude back a couple of years ago when I was in England. Like I just thought that whenever I spoke English, people just wanted to prove me wrong, like prove me that my English was bad. Yeah, just catch me out.
It's very important, right? So people support you.
Yeah, so confidence is important.
Yeah, for sure.
So have as much confidence as possible and just be brave and just speak the way you want, whenever you want. Don't be afraid.
Thank you. That's a really good advice. Don't you think?
good.
Yeah. It's what me and Ben are speaking about all the time. Like this, creating the support system.
Yeah.
The circle of people who will know what you do and support you is extremely important. Because if everyone is bashing you, you're not going to survive.
Because speaking a language is so much about confidence. Because what's going on in your head, the difference in what's going on in your head between when you're not fluent and when you're fluent is that when you're not fluent, you have thoughts like, oh, it's my second language. How am I going to sound? Am I going to be able to pronounce this word? Am I going to be able to express myself? Am I going to be able to understand people? All of this stuff. And then when you're fluent just because you don't have these thoughts anymore. It's like, I think I'm fluent
Well, obviously.
just because I'm very confident. So when I speak English, I don't think anything like, oh, it's my second language. How am I going to sound? Am I going to be able to express myself? I just don't have these fears in English. And that's what you have to overcome to become fluent.
So do you treat English like your tool? Like your
Yeah,
instrument?
just like a tool to communicate, not like something that I need to learn, for example.
It's awesome approach.
Not like
I
a
love
second
it.
language.
You have a great approach. You do. So, would you consider meeting us again?
Definitely.
Maybe we could speak.
Seriously.
I mean, you're very
We're not
fun
that
people.
bad.
Just you meet them and they just like keep laughing at something. You don't know what's going on, but
We took a picture of us with bunny ears, and we just couldn't stop laughing. You want to show it?
Of course.
Oh my God. It was pretty random, and I actually sent it to Peter, and yeah, he didn't see it because he didn't have a chance to get it. So yeah. Oh, Benny.
Ready?
You ready, guys?
Yes, and thank you again.
Thank you so much for
See you
your
next
guys.
time and
participation.
see you next time.
See you.
Bye.